Let's hear what Mitt Romney had to say.
That Utah Senator Mitt Romney says that he will support the president as far as nominating a Supreme Court justice, which is not to say that Mitt Romney has said that he will vote for the president. At least that's not the way I interpret that. And Matt, if you're hearing differently, please tell me. It's not saying that he will support the president's nominee. It in fact is that he will support the president's right to nominate a Supreme Court justice. Keep in mind, the math here is very critical because, yeah, let's listen to Mitt Romney.
Oh, guys, he's not supporting the president's appointment. He's just supporting his right. See, what you fail to recognize is this is a constitutional argument. I mean, come on. These guys are all fucking crooks. And if you thought that Bain Capital's very own Mitt motherfucking Romney was going to be decent or honest, oh my God, this AC is literally on top of me. I'm a little worried here. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, if you thought even for a second that this guy was going to be decent and honest, you're out of your mind. He's venting. Have you heard about the potential for Pelosi to use impeachment to stall Supreme Court nomination? I have not heard about that.
The side of the Constitution and precedent, as I've studied it, and make the decision.
What is this background?
You said that in your release that you would look at a nominee's qualifications. What qualifications are you looking for, and what would make you not consider someone that President Trump is putting forward?
Well, I think it's straightforward in terms of the qualifications you look for, which is someone who is an expert of the law, someone who has a record of fairness and judgment that you think is consistent with the law. I prefer choosing those folks who are, if you will, strict constructionists, meaning that they look at the law itself and the Constitution, as opposed to sort of looking into the sky and pulling out ideas that they think may be more appropriate than either the law or the Constitution. So I recognize that we may have a court which has more of a conservative bent than it's had over the last few decades. But my liberal friends have, over many decades, gotten very used to the idea of having a liberal court. And that's not written in the statute.
Like, even the liberal court, like, the difference between a liberal court and a conservative court is literally, like, civil equality and shit. You know what I mean? Like, because on issues that pertain to the economy, like, on issues that pertain to economic policy, like, a liberal court has played just as significant of a role in dismantling labor unions and fucking, I don't know, building pipelines and things of that nature, just as well as the Republican courts have. So this notion that, like, oh man, well, you know, people just take it for granted. It's like all activist judges on the liberal court. When someone like Mitt Romney says that, he means social conservatism. He means being brutal to marginalized groups. He means being brutal to women. He means enacting a horrific, cruel agenda against marginalized groups because he feels, or at least his constituents feel, that they've had things going far too well for far too long for them. That's what they're saying. This is not about, like, economic policy. Just remember that.
Stars. And I know that a lot of people are saying, gosh, we don't want that change. I understand the energy associated with that perspective. But it's also appropriate for a nation which is, if you will, center-right, to have a court which reflects center-right points of view, which, again, are not changing the law from what it states, but instead following the law and following the Constitution.
Senator Romney, you know there's Supreme Court nominations take some time, and there isn't a lot of time before the election. Would you support a lame duck vote if Democrats win the majority?
You know, I'm not going to look at all the hypotheticals that might occur, but I've laid out what I intend to do, and that would be dependent upon, or not, excuse me, not dependent upon the timing. I don't know whether the decision will be made before or after the election, meaning the final vote will be before or after the election.
Would you be all right if the final vote was before the election? Would you have a problem with that?
Well, my statement applies to the current circumstance, which means the timing will be decided by the Judiciary Committee and the majority leader as to when it gets to the floor.
But if Biden wins, you'd be okay with the vote in the lame duck session if Biden wins?
I'm not going to get into the particulars.
There you have Utah Senator.
Yeah, see, he's a pussy. He's not going to get into the particulars of what might happen in a lame duck session. Like, it's just, dude. Left like half an hour ago when you were talking about RPG and the pipelines, I came back and now the first thing I hear is pipelines. I'm from Utah. I'm not at all shocked. I don't think people understand Romney. Republicans hate him and call him a rhino, and Dems hate him for not being a Democrat. Of course the guy wants conservative judges. He's a conservative crying out loud. Just because he stands up to Trump doesn't mean he doesn't hold hateful ideals. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, it's at the heart of my commentaries. Like, don't trust Republicans. Don't trust Democrats either, but definitely don't trust Republicans. I mean, are you kidding me? They are open and very transparent about their cruelty. It's like, it's kind of the motivating principle for voting. It's kind of the reason why Republicans run. Like, they run so they can be cruel. That's the only policy difference they have outside of the horrific deregulation, horrific tax cuts and whatnot that even some Democrats concede to from time to time. The most significant factor in voting for a Republican is this. It's okay.
Emo shit has been my personality. Emo shit has been my personality. Emo shit is personality. Emo shit